Okay, time for a YouTube update. And I apologize, I don't have my, what do you youngins call it? The gimbal? The gimbal? I'm back to using just my, my standard shoulder, which no doubt will build up with lactic acid. So I apologize for the instability, if it's particularly acidic and lactic-y. I'm actually visiting some family here on beautiful Lake Michigan. A couple of things. I know that some of you, already my shoulder's tired. I am out of shape. We're waiting, I know some of you were waiting for the Jean-Guy climate strike video to go up tonight. Apologize, that'll be going up tomorrow. A couple of reasons. There were some technical difficulties in offloading the footage. And I also thought this warranted an update on the YouTube situation, the YouTube 2020 election blacklist. So first thing, I want to thank everybody out there. Thank you so much to you guys who sent in screenshots, who did you basically did the legwork for us. You know, you are an absolute gold mine of data that businesses would pay millions upon millions of dollars to access, probably in breaching privacy laws, a gross breach of privacy laws, but you're able to do some of the research that we can't. And there have been some changes to YouTube, to the blacklisting, just to let you guys know. I know there have been some rumors out there that we lied or we manipulated screenshots. Well, listen, there have been some changes where if you search just generically this channel now, YouTube has made some specific changes. I don't know if they were in response to what we've done. I have no idea. I'm not implying that, where it shows the most recent uploads or popular uploads, which was not the case before, but it's also not consistent across all platforms. But there was something really peculiar in I would say very concerning that we found out regarding the YouTube search results. So as we talked about last week, if you searched Steven Crowder changed my mind. Search Steven Crowder changed my mind and it should pop up. And they said it's not. So keep in mind, this sort of surfaced, or at least captured our attention organically. So a lot of you ran these searches, and we did notice some inconsistencies. Some people were saying, hey, listen, you're lying, you're the boy who cried YouTube here, which we never want to be. And we're sending in screenshots showing verifiably, irrefutably, that if they searched Steven Crowder changed my mind, that our channel was popping up. And that's a good thing. But then other people were showing us the opposite, that it was not the case. So we did some digging and we found something out. The results, as far as the blacklisting, the ghosting, like a bad date from Tinder, of this channel was happening only in the United States. That's what we suspected anyway. So we ran some searches, identical, general video searches. Steven Crowder changed my mind, or the title of the video. You know, very specific to try and leave little room for error in places like Spain. I know we had a viewer out there, user, you know who you are, who searched it in Spain, and it was fine. Same thing in Russia, funny enough. And is it funnily enough? Funny enough? It seems like funny enough. I don't know. Grammar Nazis, you let me know. Give me a hard time, just like the fat shaming. So it showed up. But then when we switched to VPN and ran a search in the United States, it didn't show up. And the same thing every time we tried to search with specificity content from this channel. So it was specifically blacklisted, throttled, only in the United States, meaning content was more freely accessible in places like Russia. I believe the Ukraine, we had a fan from the Ukraine, don't quote me on that, but I know for sure Russia and Spain, than here in the United States. Now, why would that be? I don't know why it would be, but I want to hear what you guys think. I never want to be paranoid or conspiratorial, but I can't imagine a world in which the biggest conservative YouTube channel ever is throttled, blacklisted, ghosted, omitted from search results, however you want to refer to it, but exclusively in the United States. I can't imagine a world in which that's the case unless there is someone directly trying to put their thumb on the scales of the election. There could be another reason. You guys let me know. But again, it would seem to me that it should be most free and open in the United States. I can understand in places like Canada or the UK where they have hate speech laws, if the government is leaning on YouTube to make sure that they acquiesce to someone not getting offended, for example, in the UK from someone doing a karaoke song of kung fu fighting. Someone was actually put in jail for that. That's a real thing. But the United States is the last bastion of freedom where we do have freedom of speech. So for it to be throttled exclusively in the United States and not places like Spain, Russia, Canada was absolutely bizarre to us. And we're doing some digging. I would like please send me screenshots, follow me on Twitter at @scrowder, because we don't reveal everything here on YouTube. I don't want to be just bombarding you with YouTube updates here. I'd really rather focus on creating more content, but we also want to make sure that if we create content, we're able to reach you. And that's why please just save this page, bookmark it, check in every day. We do videos every single day. If you haven't joined Mug Club or you can't afford it yet, just check in every day, because we don't know when notifications or subscriptions work. And that's kind of the point here, is we never know when anything works. And that's why we need you to send in more data. Search other controversial topics in other countries, because here's one thing, it doesn't stop with us. It doesn't stop with conservatives in the United States, right? If they can do it here for politically expedient purposes, they can do it anywhere. It could lead to LGBTQ videos being censored in Middle Eastern countries. It could lead to videos that are critical of the Israeli government being black. This Trump talks was one step too far. Get out of here. I have no idea. But I certainly haven't seen any evidence of that. But let me present a hypothetical scenario to you here. This is a thought exercise, just to sort of put the value, or some sort of value, some context on the effect that this could have on an election. Let's say Russia. Okay, we always talk about Russia. Let's start with that. Russia, they meddled in the United States election. Well, to the best of our ability to tell, all the evidence points toward the fact that Russia spent a few $1,000s on Facebook ads, right, to try and cause chaos in the United States election. Okay, let's accept that as true, all right? I don't want to argue about Russia right now. Okay, so let me ask you this. Let's say in this hypothetical world, I'm a Russian agent. Watch, that'll be clipped. I'm a Russian agent. I'm a Russian agent. That's going to be clipped. But let's say in this hypothetical world, I'm a Russian agent. Okay, this channel is nothing but pro-Russia propaganda, pro-KGB, pro-Putin propaganda, okay? Doing the bidding of the Russian government. With 4 million subscribers, close to a billion plays. Let me ask you this. If they spent a few $1,000s on Facebook ads, which had a marginal effect, if any, at all, how much do you think they would spend to run a channel like this, to have a channel with 4? We were well on our way to 5 million subscribers. Should have been there in June until the new algorithmic changes and the Vox apocalypse. How much do you think the Russian government would pay to have a channel with 4 million subscribers, 5 million subscribers, a billion plays? 5 million? 10 million? 20 million? Now let's flip it. Let's say that the Russian government wanted to make sure that only their point of view is presented. Okay, they wanted to try and tip the scales on new media, big tech. And let's say that this channel, as opposed to being a Russian agent, this channel was the biggest thorn in the spout, their biggest detractor. How much do you think they'd spend for that? 5 million? That's just so, I just present that thought exercise to show you how important and how valuable this digital real estate is in the upcoming elections and, frankly, in molding the views of a generation. There are people in positions of power who absolutely do want to pinch the valve of the flow of information. And like it or not, I mean, listen, this is kind of the blueprint for conservatives on YouTube. And when you look at the totality of the evidence, what happened after the Vox apocalypse, what's been happening with a lot of people on YouTube, but what's been happening specifically with search results, what's been happening specifically with very specific titles and tags if you search and our stuff not showing up, and it happening exclusively in the United States. That is a political, social impact that is scary, that can be done to anyone. And I don't know if it's deliberate or not. And I would love to know what you think, whether you think it's deliberate, whether you think it's just something that maybe got lost in the shuffle. But I do know this, whether it's deliberate, whether it's just oversight, that the one point of view on YouTube expressing a more traditionalist, conservative viewpoint, certainly in the realm of comedy, late night, whatever it is, the fact remains that this channel is throttled and not treated the same as other channels coming up to an election time. Whether it's deliberate or it's oversight, it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. It's too important, and it's wrong either way. And something has to be done. So right now we're just in the information gathering process. I know we've been saying that for a long time, but we want to make an informed decision. And of course, we're reaching out and trying to communicate with people at YouTube. You know, we always want to work these things out as amicably as possible. But to be armed with as much information as possible is the way you can best help us right now. It's been incredibly helpful over the last week, and I would really appreciate it if you sent some more, because we'll be putting all of this in our file and updating you soon. Tomorrow, Zhangyi Climate Strike. See you then.